Hi, everyone. I'm Amy. That's Tabitha. We are AuthorsBuzz. And we are today kind of talking about starting off the new year. But when Tabitha suggested the subject, I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not that I don't have goals, but all right. So, Tab, help me out here. I'm like
Well,
totally having
so
just like,
yeah, no,
like
it's okay.
something,
Like today
nothing
is gonna
to me. Throw me a
I
lifesaver
got
thing.
you. I got you. First off, I had the giggles. I couldn't even hit the record button because I was laughing so hard through our initial conversation. So that's the kind of day today has shaped up to be. So we're just gonna run with that. And we're just gonna have like kind of a casual conversation about how we look at the new year, how we kind of you use this fresh start. Should you use it? Is it worthwhile? Is goal setting a good idea? What kind of goals should you set? And the first thing I want to say is here in publishing, and this is what came up between us and set me off laughing. I don't know why, but that some of our goals are out of our control. Some things in this industry are very much out of our control. So, should they even be on your list of goals? For example, Amy is querying, and she could set a goal of querying a certain number of agents a day, a week, a month, but she can't really set a goal on outcome. However, if you have a project that's in place and you want to complete it by a certain date, you can certainly set a goal of productivity along the way, right? And that is legit. So, I mean, those are some things to think about. I love the new year. I just think it's like I go through this whole routine all the time about when the year ends. I really take stock and I analyze and I make myself go through things I've accomplished rather than things I didn't accomplish so that I don't feel like a total loser. And and I actually do that. And I say, all right, if I didn't do something, why not? And can I take any of that information into the new year? And then I sort of like wipe the slate clean and I
Hmm.
think about what are my intentions? And it's sort of I think better to work from like a big picture intention and then you can, noodle it down to goals. Some people are very much like you have to have hard goals and they have to be this and you have to look at them. I'm not that person. It works for some people. My husband is that person. It works for him. He writes them, puts them on the mirror and looks at it every day. And then by God, he sits down and does the things he says he's going to do. Whereas I'm the artist type and Amy is too. And that doesn't mean we're not productive. Doesn't mean we don't get shit done, but it might mean that our process and the way we think about it needs to be tweaked a little.
What I know I need to do with myself is I know very well I am going to do the things that I have intended to do, but I don't like to feel like I have to. So
Mind
there's this
game.
whole like trick of like freedom trick where if I add it up, like the amount of hours I'm spending doing stuff, I am quite a busy woman. Plus, I go to the gym and all kinds of other stuff. But I have to make myself, I have to feel like I'm doing what I want to do when I want to do it, which I am. So it's like all about, yeah, it's like mental
mental
massaging.
mental
But
gymnastics, yeah, to get it to a way that works so that it's a useful process. And I do think it's a useful process because I do think, we are in an industry where we do actually have to produce things. Like if you just want to write a book, great, you can want to write a book for 5 years, but if you don't actually break it down and say what are the steps I need to take, what things do I have to modify in my life, how do I have to use my time, what do I have to move around to be able to accomplish, what do I have to learn in order to accomplish this task or this goal, then it can be on your list of goals for 10 years and you won't do it. So there's that balance between knowing yourself and knowing how you need to talk to yourself, how you need to be kind to yourself, how you need to how you show up in the world and forming things like around that way and actually getting things done, right? So it's that balancing act. I like to look at my own personal sort of intentions for myself. Like this year, my husband and I've been on the road for a year, so our healthcare has sort of gone out the window, and that's not, it's not, we're healthy, it's not like that's a big problem, but there's little things that I know need to happen. And so this year I actually started writing out my goals. Like I have a page for, professional, but personal, whatever. relationship. And I started writing my professional ones first, and I ripped the page out symbolically and wrote my personal, because if it's the airplane thing. If the plane is, under stress, if a door pops off, say, good Lord, right? You need to put your oxygen mask on first so you can help somebody else. You need to take care of yourself first so that you can be available to do the other things, be in your best shape to do the other things. So I literally ripped the page out and started again and wrote, personal, get your health in order, do the things that you need to be doing, stay on top of. And I had a little list of that. And then, I'm starting grad school in June. And so I have a project that I want finished before June. So if I want to do that, I have to
Yeah.
I have to rearrange. I have to look at my calendar realistically. I have to look at, what does that mean? And what do I need to do to make that happen? So I have started working differently. I'm not the person who gets up first thing in the morning and writes creatively. I like to finish my busy work first so that I can settle into it. Well, that's not happening. It hasn't been happening this whole year. It's not been working that way. Our life is different. We're working together, in the same space. Getting up early, sitting down first thing and just diving into the writing actually has been really lovely. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I have a scene in my mind and I'm ready to go write it. And if writing that book or these couple books, that I need to finish the series is the top of my professional list, and I only have till June to do it, it means I have to do what I have to do to get it done. Right. So
Right. And when I write too, what I do as well is I have built in cushion in my, so the goal is what the goal is, but like, let's say, I have to write, I don't know, say I have to write 1,000 words a day to make that happen, like I tweak it, right? So I'm saying I have to do 1,000, but I'm giving myself like I'm fudging the numbers so that if I end up doing less or taking one, like I know that's in there where, so
right.
because I think it can be too much of an ask for yourself to have like the goals be like
Too
so,
aggressive that you can't actually
yeah, or that if
do
you
it.
miss a day, like everything's like totally
Fallen
messed
behind, sure.
totally
Yeah, and
messed
that's something that I think the more that you do, I've written a lot of blog posts
You're
over the
wonking just
years.
a little bit, so let's hold on 1 second. I want to keep the call going, but I want to
My
make
back,
sure you're not wonking.
I wonky still.
Definitely. Definitely. There you are. Okay.
Okay.
Try again.
Okay. It says internet connection is unstable, but is it stable now? Do I look stable? Maybe it's me that's unstable.
Well, aren't we all? Aren't we all?
There's moments.
Use a
Um,
concept.
well, anyway, so yep, we're all unstable. So if the thing is, if you've been doing this for a while, and I write a lot about written a lot of blog posts in the past about understanding your own personal writing rhythm. And over time, you do fall into a rhythm. Like we both talk about, summers are not a good time for us to produce new content. Other people, that might be their writing retreat time, where that's when they have stretches of, free hours and nice weather to sit outside or whatever. They go to the cabin and write. But for me, that's just never been the case. That's not to say it won't change, but you get a sense over time of what your rhythm is. And so you want to sort of work that into your goal setting for the, of the year. And then maybe you want to break it down into quarters, like more manageable chunks. And sort of that gives you time to assess and evaluate if what you put down as a goal is actually realistic for you, because then you can make some modifications and the whole year hasn't gone by, right? Only a quarter has gone by and you say, well, I did way more than I thought I could do. I've underestimated. Let's bump it up. Or, oof, that was a lot more work and I need to back it down a little and create something more realistic for my life. So those are just some tidbits to think about. I don't know. You got anything else about starting the year?
I mean, I think it's a subject we always return to, which is, or a couple of, I mean, I could sum it down into, again, what we always talk about. One, following the rhythm of something versus a super precise, rigid schedule, but understanding that rhythm. 2, being self-honest, and then 3, it's kind of like you just can't, you really just can't ignore it. I mean, to write a book, to be a writer, is a monumental task. And I've talked to you about, I do freelance writing, which has short time frame. And no matter how challenging the task is, it is so much easier than keeping something going consistently to end up with a book in the end. So I guess we're saying what we're always saying, it's not easy, it's worth it, and figure out how you can set yourself up for success, but also understand, like, be easy on yourself, but you can't be too easy on yourself, because then you won't do it. So, and
Right.
you know what? It comes back to what we always say, only you know what that balance is, and care about yourself enough, care about this story, this work enough, that you're willing to figure that crap out. And the truth is, if you're not willing to, you might not be a writer. It might not be important to you. Every writer I know can't help themselves, and wants to tell the story. And the story is like, I've got the one for the next one in my head that's like, all right, enough already, like, and eventually it's gonna like break through that wall. Like, and those of us who are old enough to Run DMC, like, what was it, like Aerosmith playing, and like Run DMC like comes through the wall, walk this way. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
so,
Yeah, we're showing our age, but that's okay.
and there's nothing more rewarding, and there's nothing that's going to build you up more than saying, I did this. I mean, we
Yeah,
both know
it's true.
that.
And when you
And
look back on it,
that's
okay,
regardless of result.
regardless of result, you finished something. And I always look back and sometimes I'll reread a book I wrote years ago and I'm like, gosh, that wasn't so bad. I really wrote this. I wrote 90,000 words in one story 9 times, or however many books I have. And it's like, gosh, that's impressive. So I think about people like Stephen King who have written, just this huge body of work. It's so impressive. But
I'm not sure that he does anything else, though.
probably not. That's probably true. And and in today's world,
I don't know if he gets out much. I'm not sure.
I know, right? And then there's the people that write, like Diana Gabaldon, who writes these huge books that span, characters and arcs and years of time, and they're so complex, and yet it all works. And I'm so in awe of that. But your accomplishment when you complete this book that you've had in your head, or your first one, your second one, whatever, it's an accomplishment. It means you did what you needed to do to get your story from here to there, and that's great. So if that's your
Yeah.
goal for this year, do what you got to do to make it happen. And
Yes. Then I guess what we're saying is happy 2024. Make this your year. If you want to do this thing, like, do this thing.
just do it. That's
I'll
right.
tell you everything that we know.
All right. We'll see. So next time, self-publishing, we'll start down that path of some top tips.
We've kind of been teasing we've been like overly teasing, but we are really going to dive into it.
We really are. We swear.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.